All right, welcome to 5.8. We're going to write a real world function from 2 points or a table. So let's learn what we went over yesterday, right? Write a linear function in slope-intercept form that passes through the 2 points. So the first thing you always do here is find the slope. So I'm going to do 2 minus -4 for my y's, meaning I'm going to do 5 minus 3 for my x's. 2 minus -4 is 6, 5 minus 3 is 2, and you get a slope of 3. Now there are 2 methods. I am going to use, I should go over both methods. All right, so the point slope method, all right, the point slope method is this, right? So you're going to take one of these points, I'll use the first one, y plus 4 equals 3 times x minus 3. And it says in slope-intercept form, so if y plus 4 equals 3x minus 9, subtract 3 from both sides, y equals 3x minus 12. My preference, and the one I'm going to do most of the time today, is the y equals mx plus b method. Right, in that, you put y, you put the 3 where m is again, you take the point and put it in there, -4 equals 3 times 3 plus b, subtract 9 from, subtract 4 from both sides. Why did I write minus 3? So it's y equals 3x minus 13. Good thing I did it twice, because then I realized that b is -13 over here. And so then y, you get the exact same equation, because b is -13. Okay, so I'm going to use the second method on this one. So I'm going to find the slope. I can use any 2 points. Remember, it's upside down in this type of table. So 5 minus 2 are my y's, 1 minus 0 is my x's, and you get 3 over 1 is your slope, right? Now, in this one, what do you see? Right? You have an x equals 0. 0, 2 is the y-intercept. So y equals 3x plus 2 is the answer, okay? Now, if you didn't notice that, right, you would do all the work, right? You would go, you use this method, y equals 3x plus b. You'd take any of those points. When x is 0, y is 2 is one of them, and you get 2 equals b. But remember, it works for any of these points. If y is 5, x is 1, subtract 3 from both sides. No matter what you do with these points, you're going to get b equals 2. And you get y equals 3x plus 2. Okay, so we're going to do this with a real world table. So we're going to use our function notation. So that's h of d, and we will see that. Right. So first thing you're going to do is find the slope, right? The slope is 80, the y's, right? This would be the y thing, so that goes up top. 80 minus 0. This would be the x's, even though it's h. 2 minus 0, and you get 80 over 2, or 40. What does that mean? The car was going 40 miles per hour. Find the speed of the car and write a linear function. Okay, so I'm going to use the y equals mx plus b method. Right, so y equals 40x plus b. And so I can use any of these points. I could use 0, 0, but I'll use 80 and 2. All right. And that gets b equals 0. So what does that mean? All right, so it's m of h equals 40, not x, 40h, right? We're writing a real world function, right? Because 0, 0 was in there. I could have actually skipped this whole step. Okay, so let's do another one. All right, so cost per ride. So let's make this, the answer is going to be C of R, all right? Cost per ride, C of R. All right, to do that, we need to find our slope. So this would be the y's, right? The y's are on the bottom when you do these. So 18 minus 8 over 5 minus 0. 18 minus 8 is 10, minus 0 is 5. The slope here is 2. What does that mean? It means it's $2 for each ride, assuming these are dollars, although I didn't say. So you put it in the y equals mx plus b, right? That's the slope. Then you pick any of these points. Oh, once again, you already have, right? You already have the y-intercept right there. It was $8 to get in, so you don't even need to do that step. So C of R equals 2R plus 8, right? It's $2 for each ride, $8 to get in. Okay, same thing here. His pay is a function of h, so that's what we need. Find your slope. So the p ones, these two are your y's. It's 130, right? Right. If you graph this, pay would be over there, h would be there, right? So this h, this is where x goes, p is where y goes, or y, you understand, hopefully. And 130 minus 50 is 80 over 4, and you get 20. He's getting $20 per hour. We already know the y-intercept. It's 0.50. It's right there. And he's getting paid $20 per hour. That means for every hour he gets paid $20. So it's P of h equals 20h plus 50. All right, so those ones, the y-intercept was in the table. Now, like this one, you could figure out from this pattern, you could figure out the y-intercept that way. But you can't do that all the time. So, although if you can see it, you're allowed to do that when it's available. But the tried and true method, find the slope. We're going to subtract our y's, 160 minus 130, 2 minus 1. We get 30 over 1, or 30. So the car's going 30 miles per hour. So y equals 30x plus b. All right, so we're going to use 130 and 1. Right, subtract 30 from both sides. 100 equals b. Find the speed of the car and write a linear function from the table, which indicates a distance already driven. What is we going to do? We're going to do m of h is 30 times h. He's going 30 miles an hour, but they've already gone 100 miles. So 0 went with 100. Now, for those who like patterns, yeah, that makes sense, right? We're going down by 30 or up by 30, depending which way you look at it. We're going 30 more miles every single hour there. All right, so we're going to find the rate of pay as a function of the hours worked here. Find the slope, so 85 minus 70, 3 minus 2, so it's 15, right? Well, yeah, 15. He's making $15 per hour. You pick any of these points, right, and you put it in the y equals mx plus b equation. I'm going to use the easiest one, 70 and 2. 15 times 2 is 30, so you subtract 30 from both sides. 40 equals b. So P of h equals 15 times h. He's getting $15 per hour, and this 40 is the tips, right? He already earned $40 in tips. Find the cost per ticket at the fair and write imply a linear function includes an entrance fee. All right, so this is C of R, right? So it's going to be C of R. We're using function notation. We're finding our slope every time. The slope. Subtract the y's up top, 26 minus 18. The x's, right down here would be the x's, and I minus 5. So you get 4 on the bottom. You get what? 8 on the top? Yeah, so it's $2 for each ride. So y equals 2x plus b. And you can pick any of these points. I'll pick the top one, 18 and 5. When you go on 5 rides, that's the x thing, you get 18. 2 times 5 is 10, so subtract 10 from both sides. B equals 8. So our equation is C of R. It equals 2R plus 8. It is $8 to get in. And it's $2 more per ride. Now be careful when you graph this. Each box is worth 4. So each hour you go up 2, right? Each hour you go up 2. So 4 in 2, right? Each hour you go up 2. So we better, right? We better hit this point, right? This is that first point. 5 rides goes with 18, right? 5 rides goes with 18 right there, all right? And 9 rides better be, when we get up to 9 rides, we better hit, that's 28, so we better hit 26 for that one. I'm going to use my straight edge, right? And so from that, let's understand this a little better. So, right, we were given that point and we were given that point. And you could have graphed the whole thing and figured out the equation that way because there's only one linear function that goes through those 2 points, and you could have done it that way, right? I think it would have been way slower, but it was 8. It turns out if that's what people paid, then it must have been $8 to get in and $2 for each ride. All right, the candle is burning down, right? So we're going to have a graph that looks like that. It's burning down. So we better get a negative slope. Let's see, right? We subtract our y's, 13 minus 7. We start with 13, and we got to start with 2. 2 minus 4. So you get 6 over negative 2, which is negative 3. It's going down 3 inches per hour. We use the y equals mx plus b method, so y equals negative 3x plus b. You pick either of those. I'll pick 13 and 7. I mean 13 and 7, no, you pick 13 and 2. When x is 2, t is right, t is where x is, h is where that, and so when 2, you get 13. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Add 6 to both sides. 19 equals b. We're going to use function notation, so h of t, right? We use t for time, for hours, so that we don't have h of h. H of t equals negative 3h plus 19, right? The y, it started at 19 inches, and it's going down 3 inches every hour. All right, so find h of 7 is negative 3 times 7 plus 19. Negative 21 plus 19 equals negative 2. So don't do that. Realize the candle has burnt out. It's a real world problem. It's hit right there already. Before 7 hours, it is already burnt out. All right, so you're going to find the slope. 24 minus 13 over 1 minus 0. I'm using that. Remember, no, so notice this is x and this is y, right? This is a y for years, not for the y coordinate. And then, so we get 11 over 1, which is 11, right? Is that right? Yeah, so it's growing 11, I didn't say, feet per year, but that's our slope. So y equals 11x plus b. You pick, the y-intercept is already there, so we don't even need that, all right? So we're going to use h of y equals 11y plus 13, because the y-intercept is there. That's the y-intercept. The x-coordinate, even though it's called y, is 0, 13. All right, this one doesn't have the y-intercept in the table. So let's find the slope. Let's do that one. That one looks nice and easy. 26 minus 20 over 6 minus 4. You get 6 over 2, or 3. All right, so this great plant is growing 3 feet per day, 3 inches, probably not feet per day. Oof, that would be impossible. 3 inches per day. Oh, it says inches right there. 3 inches per day. Okay, so we're going to put that in y equals mx plus b. Okay, and then we're going to use any of these points, right? The h is where that is. 20 goes there, 4 goes there. 3 times 4 is 12. Subtract 12 from both sides. B is 8. So the equation here is h of d equals 3d plus 8. So this plant on day 0 was 8. And you now, again, I've talked about this pattern stuff, right? If 6 goes with 26, we're going down by 6 this way, right? So 2 has to go with 14, right? And then 6 below that, 0 has to go with 8. And if 0 has to go with 8, that means that that's the y-intercept. It was 8 inches when it started. And then 1 day or 2 days later, it was 14. 4 days later, it was 20, and so on. All right, the water is dropping here. Okay, so when we subtract our y's, and we subtract our x's, you know you're supposed to get a negative number. So it's going down 4 inches per hour. We're going to put that into y equals mx plus b. We'll use the first one when x is 2, y is 26. So that's negative 8. We're going to add 8 to both sides. So 34 equals b. So we're going to write, let's use h for this and t for that. So h of t equals negative 4t plus 34. So to graph that, all right, so it's 2, 4, 6. So these are going up by 2. So there's 34 right there. And so each box is worth 2. So to go down 4 over 1, right? Down 4 over 1. You're going down 2 boxes each time. And that's our graph. And remember, right, you don't put an arrow. If you get down, it looks, oh, that's not quite true. It actually hits a little past 8, right? Because negative 4 times 8 would be negative 32 plus, at 8 it would be at 2 feet. All right, so I got to be a little neater. I was a little too sloppy. So let me be a little neater. So it's a little past 8 there. All right, there we go. Better. So you have it just past 8 is when it runs out of water. Okay, good luck on the homework.